a milk coffee, a mild coffee with milk, please. So the machine does all the process. In the machine we have the ingredients, the milk, the coffee, the sugar, and as you can see, why I couldn't even finish the sentence, and my drink is ready. Hi, my name is John Katto. I am the managing director of Ekspreso. Ekspreso is we serve hot beverages from the most safe machines in the world, and yeah, it's a great business. We started 3 years ago, 2017, and we are going from strength to strength. If you go into a restaurant, you sit down, it sometimes actually takes more time to get a cup of tea served than food, because there's a whole process of making tea. So we've started with the hot beverages in a vending manner, because 1, they are safe, 2, they are consistent, 3, they are very fast. You get your beverage very fast, and all that means that the price of the beverage goes down quite a bit. So Ekspreso provides a high quality beverage at a very fast rate and a consistent high quality product that can remain constant, and is remaining constant right now. Right now we've got 23 open branches. Pre-COVID we had 42 open branches, but we're building back from that to get, we've got 62 machines, so we've still got a few branches to go. COVID turned out to be good for us, because what we did during COVID is that we restructured, we changed our mode of operation. So right now we are focused on promoting young people to make them into businessmen. Before we were doing everything ourselves, but we looked and we said, no, this is a good vehicle to get people started in business. Ekspreso is looking for young partners to invest with us and make a business out of it. The partnership, how is the partnership? Ekspreso provides the machine. The partner, we call them beverage entrepreneurs, BEs, beverage entrepreneurs. So they're entrepreneuring in, selling beverage entrepreneurs. So the BE, what do we need from the BE? The BE comes in with 1 million shillings, just 1 million shillings. And that 1 million, we don't even take that money that we're taking it as a deposit or what. No, that 1 million shillings is buying the ingredients. The BE might have a location where he knows that this place, if I go there, I'll be able to sell 30, 40, 50 cups of beverage a day. And we go and inspect the location, and if we think that the location will work, we install the machine there. So if you're a bit lazy and you're selling, and this really you need to be lazy to sell 30 cups only, you're taking home 675,000 shillings, thereabouts. Clean money, home. We don't charge you for anything else, that is your take home. Now, if you're doing 50 cups, you're already above 1 million shillings. If you partner with us, really you should be making, if you're really lazy, you should be making 500,000 for the machine per month. I mean, you need to be really lazy. Our intention is to have, within the next 5 years, to have set up 2,000 stations. And in 10 years to have set up 5,000 stations, so that every part of Uganda, wherever you go, if you want a cup of tea, you're going to be having an Ekspreso cup of tea or coffee or mocha. So you've got a choice. You've got a big choice, and it will be consistent all over the country. So that is our projection.
Garage. If you are just joining us, you are right on time. It's time for you to share this thing all over the place, because we're just about to bring you a powerful, incredible story. My name is B3. We bring you a series that has continued to be impactful and incredible, rebuilding businesses. All right? And today I have the privilege of hosting a friend and someone who I think has such an incredible story. Mr. John Katto from Expresso. Welcome, JK.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you very much, B3.
JK, it's such a privilege to host you. You guys get ready for very good KB, a lot of wisdom, and just good stories and laughter is what for me I'm expecting. So like I said, just call your friends, share this everywhere because this is going to be a really good story. So JK, I'm going to start from the beginning. I am waiting to listen to the beginnings of business for JK. JK, how did you start out in business? Let's start there before you tell us how many businesses you've been involved in. How did you get into the whole business thing? And for just to give us a clue, how long have you been a businessman? For how long? So that we can calculate the years. Older than some people who are watching, I guess.
Maybe even older than most of the people who are around here. Thanks very much for having me. It's a real pleasure. This is my home, but still, it's really great to be here. I come from a business family. My father was a businessman, a very successful businessman who really started off things. He came from Kabale many, many years ago, and he started doing things, and he became a preeminent. He was actually the first black African industrialist in Uganda.
Whoa.
And that was in like 1967, I think. That's my father, not me.
Wow.
So I kind of took from him, and I started in business I came back to Uganda in 1986 and started in business immediately. None of you here have any idea what Kampala looked like in 1986. It was a real serious mess. And it needed everything. So it wasn't difficult to get into business. I started off doing supplies in Ministry of Defense and things that were amazing when I think about them today. We were supplying stationery. The real first good deal I got was supplying plastic things like basins and buckets and plastic cups for the NRA party, army, which had just come in. These guys didn't have basins to wash Bambi. So they...
Oh gosh, NRA. Some of you are like, who are
what
those?
What is NRA?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's far. And then I started moving on, business growing. Should I just keep going about the businesses?
Yeah,
okay.
Please. We are just talking. We're having a good conversation. So
in 1990, I got a huge break. I got the first contract to supply World Food Program with relief food for South Sudan. It was Sudan then, but South Sudan. It was amazing because a friend of mine just threw me in there, and I said, "Yeah, I can do it." And they said, they needed 5,000 tons of maize. Okay. I can assure you, none of you knows what 5,000 tons of maize looks like. I had no idea either.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea, a Tata truck, these normal trucks that we see running around,
yes.
It takes a maximum of 10 tons.
Oh, so 5,000. 500 Tata trucks.
That's right. Now, even me, I hadn't done that calculation. And we had to do it in 40 days.
Whoa! Hey!
And
did you know any maize suppliers when you said yes?
I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing about maize.
Wow.
Let me tell you, on the 40th day, we loaded the last truck, and it went. It was out of the scales. I was ready to collapse. We had a store in Kawempe. Had to be there like at 5:30. Thank God there was a huge surplus. There was a big harvest of maize that year. So maize was everywhere, and they were actually throwing it at us. And yet in South Sudan, they had a real serious famine. So we actually made it. But, I was carrying bags, I was cleaning maize, I was loading on trucks, of course, with a whole army of people. And it was an amazing experience. Immediately after, they gave us another contract of another 5,000 tons of maize and 2,000 tons of beans. It was mind-blowing business. But then as things happen in Uganda, when people saw that this business was available, we were making a good profit, guided by the UN system. Then they opened it up for tendering, and people started bringing in ridiculously low prices. So I said, I got out of that business. Quickly after we opened, me and my father, we opened Radio Sanyu FM.
Oh, did you know?
1993, another first. We were the first FM station in Uganda.
Wow.
You hear Sanyu FM with that young music and stuff, the whole style. It was the first one. It's the oldest.
Simba Wakati, did you guys know that JK was once a DJ? Hey! He was a funky DJ. DJ JK.
But now, take it easy, guys. Yeah, I was when I was in university, when I was in school, and then I just went into music. I was actually also a model.
A model, yeah. Oh, yeah. Calvin Klein.
Okay, my friend, these assets.
But these assets please, JK, I'm sorry I started you there. Can we go back to what we were talking about? We're talking about those, that his assets had to be put to use.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
JK was a model with Calvin Klein, right?
No, it was mostly Italian designers. Yes, very...
Studio audience,
you know, there's a studio audience here. They're distracting me. So, anyway, yeah, with Versace,
Versace, you know. So you all need to respect the man, okay?
You guys, you're going to make me run away from here.
Not a chance. Mama, let's go back. So Sanyu
anyway,
FM.
so Sanyu FM. Sanyu FM, 1993
DJ
December.
JK tuwe sample the discs.
You wait, you just be calm. And then 94 we started Sanyu Television, and that was, it was really, I think it was one of the best things I have done.
I remember Sanyu Television.
And again, it was new, so we were learning along the way, really doing something absolutely new. I remember, not long story short, but the day we put up everything and we went out to test.
Yeah.
With the engineers, we had guys from South Africa and from Israel, and we drove to Lugazi. We wanted to see how far, and there was this lady at the market at the bus stage, taxi stage, and she had a radio. Of course, everybody played cassettes. Do you guys know what cassettes are?
We shall revise.
So they were playing cassettes those times. So she had this a music box with cassettes. So we asked her. We said, "Can we? There's a nice radio station with some good music. Can we try it on?" I said, this Radio Uganda. I said, no, this isn't Radio Uganda. And it's on FM. He said, so she looked at us and we put on the FM, and the nicest sound in the world came out. It was really glorious. It really was. So I went into the radio, ran the radio for quite a long time. Then, my family went into banking. And then... And when we were starting the radio station, we needed to print letterheads. We got a design in South Africa. A guy just did it right there. One of these super talented guys, and he gave us a beautiful design. And we needed to do letterheads. So I went to Nairobi. We couldn't print in color here. And I went to Nairobi to get some prints. And I remember sitting in front of this... Indian guy, and they told me something called color separation. Yeah. Me, I knew you print, you want a color print, you get, instead there's a whole process, and there's this process called color separation. And this guy was looking at us and he says, you need to wait for 1 week. I said, yeah. He said, we've got a whole backlog, so 1 week. I said, come on, please, I'm from Uganda. I'll tell you also, the president is coming to open, so we need to do this. Just help us. So he says, okay, I can see what I can do. Maybe I'll push you forward 3 days. I said, boss, really? And what is this color separation thing that is so important? And he says, okay. But he says, look, if you don't want, you can go somewhere else. But you're going to go around Nairobi, you're not going to find anything, and you'll come back. And when you come back, you go to the bottom of the pile.
Wow.
and I had the printer with me, and he was an Indian. So he went into Indian language. This guy begged him. And me, I was really, I was saying, what is this? So anyway, move out of the place, and I asked this guy, what is this color separation? So he shows them to me. I call a friend here, and I ask him, what does it take? And he told me, they're doing a show in South Africa demonstrating a new technology about color separations. And he said they're doing it tomorrow. And I was in Nairobi. So I said, okay. I got on a flight, went to South Africa.
Wow.
I saw this machine and I bought it.
JK, I told you.
So now I was in the printing business. And what happened before, the printers in Uganda, they used to get onto a bus, go to Nairobi. They did their color separations at night in that same place. So there was some guy who would come and do them after midnight. So they would be there, wait for those color separations, get back on the bus, and come back to Uganda. So now I also introduced color separation in Uganda, which really was the introduction of color printing. Because without color separations, you don't have color printing. And that was, what year was that? That was 85, 6, I think. And so that was another revolutionary business that we started. And there was a printing press which was owned by Alliance. What was it? Cooperative Alliance, Uganda Cooperative Alliance. And they were fed up with it. Because the guys who were working it, so the guy, the boss of it, talked to us and says, why don't you take over this place? Because I'm tired of it. He happened to me Kamara's father.
Ariho Kamara.
Ariho. So we went in there, and so we started printing. So we're doing color separation and printing. Along the way, some very talented people came along. One of them was Mr. Jeremy Byemanzi.
I know Pastor, that man.
Yeah, I think. Where did you meet him?
Well, that's a story for another day.
Anyway, so Jeremy and Kamara later.
Was
right?
that in 1986?
Jeremy. Now Jeremy, we are giving away your story. So Jeremy comes, and Jeremy had we. Also, I think, Jeremy, I think we introduced Mac computers in Uganda, right? We were the only guys who had Apple computers in Uganda. And Jeremy comes in and he has an Apple laptop. Can you believe it?
Yeah,
anyway,
I can.
Yes, you can. So now I got into printing and was in it for quite a bit of time. Then before you know it, then the printing business started going down because of the digital.
Yes.
So now you had telephones, so we had gone into smartphones. So a lot of our customers were like the telcos, Airtel, before that, what was it called before? Celltel, all of those. Zain, they were all our customers.
Wow.
And they stopped giving us business because they could reach their clients on the phones.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, when we started off, we must have been like 5 printers in Kampala. In no time, right now, I think there are more than 100, definitely more than 100. I think nearer 200 printers. So the business was no longer moving on. And then a friend of mine walks into my office one day. She's called Grace Katima. She walks into and she says, you know what? There's this business that I think is a good business to invest in. And so what was it? So it says vending of hot beverages. And so she told me her story. She had been doing it, but from where she was doing it, it wasn't working out so well. And I said, okay, I was looking for something new to invest in. Let's go and do this. And that is when we come to Expresso.
Expresso!
Yeah, so that in a nutshell is
Wow. Wow, JK. Like such a pioneer.
Yes, something like that.
Something like that. Hey, JK. So before we get into now, I want to ask you about Expresso. But I'm so tempted. Anyway, I'll come back to there's something I want to ask you about. I'll come back to it. Let's first talk about Expresso. When did Expresso start? how many people are you currently employing in terms of maybe vendors, like in terms of vendors, how many vendors are out there? For how long has it been running? What is it about? What is the whole idea behind Ekspreso?
All right. So as I told you, Grace comes in and I look at it and I say, okay, this is something that I think can work. So Ekspreso, if you saw the clip with these machines that are vending machines, so we needed those vending machines. We went and bought them in India. And then we started recruit. So we wanted to do actually the vending and food because they seem to go well together. So we got into food business also, where we were doing events and things like that. And we kind of lost focus a bit on the vending, but that's where we were. So we set up this. We've got 62 machines. We had set up about 40 something by the time the COVID break came on. It's not easy to find the correct locations. We partner with Total, with Shell, and with many others, Hot Loaf, and with many other companies where we can actually put these, where we find traction, where people can actually consume. So we ended up with, just before COVID, we had 53 members of staff.
Wow.
And but we were struggling because it was not easy to manage them, and they were on a salary. So we found out, COVID again. COVID was a good and bad. So during COVID, we kind of had a real look at the whole thing.
Yes.
And say, okay, now, what is our biggest expenditure in the company? And it was salaries.
Of course, yeah.
They took up about 55% of all the income we were making.
Wow.
And yet, and these guys were giving them some commission, but because they were getting a salary, they were not putting in as much as they. So we said, you know what, these guys, why don't we entice them, and we put them in, they become our partners. Actually, to tell you the truth, I got a vision from God.
Come on.
Directly. June 12th, in the middle of the night. Anyway, God is smart because that time, they have nothing else to do. You have to listen. and he gave me a roadmap. Of COVID. In the middle of COVID, like I woke up, I don't know how to write. I don't like writing and what. But thank God for telephone, for these phones. So I got up and started writing all the things that I was hearing. And that's what we're doing now. So we've got, instead of us running a business that is my business, our business, now we're partnering with young people for them to start off businesses. There are so many young people, I'm sure, who are watching even now, want to start businesses. They want to go into business. They want to be self-reliant. They want to make some money. They've got but they don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And starting business normally is very, very expensive. Very, very, and especially in these times, it's really, really expensive. So we came up with this format. We have the machines. So and we're really looking mostly at young people. We tell them, look, get $1 million. You need to put something in, so that you have put in your own. Bring $1 million shillings. We give you a machine. We give you that $1 million buys the ingredients. The ingredients are the stuff that goes in the machine to get out the beverage. And now you go out and sell. And we started, and it's just amazing. We had guys who are selling 15 cups a day. They're selling 40 now.
Wow.
And they're getting their profit daily. So we said, okay, so whatever you make, this is how much you make. You make 750 shillings per cup. Now, that is yours. Take it. The money, when you've sold, the rest of the money, send it to us. Keep your 750.
Wow.
So you go and, if you make a calculation, if you're doing 10 cups, that's 7,500. It's not going to take you very far.
It's going to help you,
and you'll get frustrated quickly. If you're doing 20, it's 15K. It's not good enough. So you have guys, now we have guys who are selling 80, 90 average per day.
Wow.
These are guys who are these are millionaires now. These are guys who are they're going home easily with 1.5 million a month.
Yes.
Clean money. There's no tax on it. There's no what. That's what they put in their pocket. We look after the rest. And we keep on resupplying them. So, and the locations are there. I mean, if we're going to hit, eventually we want to get to 5,000 locations. And a lot of this thinking, I really want to thank a couple of people. One of them is our very good friend, Chris in Subuga, my brother. Where is he? I saw, there. You see, now I'm doing Maru on TV. Chris, he's our business coach. He came and really helped us to put these things together to cement. Guys, if you're running a business, there are business coaches, and this church is full of them. She's one of them. They help you think outside the box, from your box. You know, our boxes are tight. These guys, they put you out there, and you see things that you haven't seen before. And more importantly, is that you kind of rationalize. Things come together. And Chris did a good job of that. Brian Kavuya helped us a lot with the thinking about the financing side of it. You know, you need help.
Yes.
You need, especially because we were changing. You know, we noticed that we were not going in the right direction, and we sought help, and help came big time, and we're now moving. We're really improving thanks to that change. So,
Wow. I like what you talked about, get help, because many people, there's a book we were reading recently. I'm also being coached by Pastor Mose, business coaching, and we were reading the E-Myth and how there's a difference between the entrepreneur and the technician. That you can know how to make coffee, but you may not know how to sell it and run a business. And so learning the difference between the entrepreneur and the technician and the manager, 3 people in one, walking around. And I think that's where the business coach comes in and helps you to make sense of things, because you seem to be, from the stories, you can start.
Oh, yeah.
Starting is not a problem. Taking the risk is not the problem, you know. And since you touched on that in terms of managing the business, we happen to have a bit of knowing a part of your story. One of the things about your story before was there was a time when you were in heavy debt around the time you met Jesus. Could you tell us, we have little time, but I want you to sort of tell us the numbers. What kind of debt were you in, and how did you get yourself into this whole Mr. Get on a flight to South Africa tomorrow to go and see a thing and buy it and start a business? Like, I think people who are listening are like, maybe this guy, you know, just had this funding, I don't know from where. They don't know that you took so many crazy risks, and at some point it got a bit dangerous and you got out of it. But how much debt, to what tune have you been in? What's the highest you've ever been in debt? And how did you get, why are you laughing? How did you get yourself in that position?
First, you said something very important, that there's the entrepreneur, there's the manager, there's the accountant, all of those people are very important. Now, the debt, I was doing some things that were not very good, people need to avoid completely. I was doing business, but I was wasting away a lot of the money. I used to, actually just before that, I used to even gamble. I used to go into casinos and gamble. And when you gamble, you're gambling away business money. So I ended up with a debt burden of about 670 million. Yeah, and it was, and I was the one carrying it. It was pretty heavy.
Oh my goodness, Dickie.
And you wake up, and then these things have a way, and the income starts reducing. Of course, you've taken your eyes off the ball, and now you're thinking too much about the debt, and you just come to a stop. And that's a time now. My testimony about how I met Jesus is a long one. We don't have enough time for that. But I go to this. Just this little part. I go to this. A friend of mine drags me to this lunch hour.
Yeah.
And this guy is preaching, and then he stops right in front of me and he tells me, "You man, you have too many burdens. Jesus is telling you, give him your burdens. He'll carry them for you. Jesus is telling you, give him your burdens now." I was about to die. Never mind.
With the burden of 670 million.
No, but this guy, how did he even think of me? And
prophecy.
Hey,
yeah.
I sincerely, I nearly died. I'm in a place. Never mind. It was my very first time to be in a congregation of Barokole.
So
first time.
Yeah.
And these guys, they sit me right at the front. And Pastor Chiwewensi, who is going up and down with his translator, stops right in front of Bambi. I died. But then the of Professor Power, it stuck with me. And then I was so desperate. And I said, you see, Jesus, you said you want to carry this stuff. Here it is, you carry. And you know what Jesus did?
Yeah.
He carried it.
Yes.
Within 1 year, I'd paid off that whole debt.
Whoa.
Now don't ask me how, but Jesus paid it for me. And again, you know, when you think about it, as the people who kind of start off these businesses, who are the mind behind it, we are not always the best managers.
Yes.
And it's always good to find a very good manager. Right now, I think I've got some good guys who are working with us, who can, you know, who see me. I'm optimistic.
That is so true.
You know, really, I am going to walk
Always.
out of here today. Today is a Sunday. I suspect that by the end of today, maybe I'll have 10 million shillings. I don't know where it's going to come.
Just you expect, why not?
No.
Some come and
if it doesn't come,
it's okay.
we'll get it tomorrow. So,
and this is how you were even during that. I remember. I mean, I think we met you around that time when you were still going through. And I remember, you know, Apostle Moses tells a story in his book about this friend of his, if you've read Straightforward Financial Growth, who was in heavy debt. But when you'd meet him, he would take you to the Serena for lunch. He'd say, yeah, all is well. You're thinking, but I know what this guy is going through. And I think that's one of the most powerful things about you, your attitude. No one will ever meet JK and know what is going on. Like, for you, were you always like this?
I think so. No, but then, yeah, I was, but it would be heavy.
Yes.
And you know, there'd be those times. But you see, that's a beauty of being with you, you know, having Jesus. Jesus is strong. He can carry stuff, you know. you give him your stuff and he will carry it, and he will.
Yes.
You know, that's the important, that he will. And the thing about, you see, that many people, and I know many people who kind of really get down on themselves. I actually met one of my friends yesterday, and I looked at him. The guy has lost weight. He's not looking so good, and I know that he's been having business issues. And I was telling him, man, come, we have a meal. And he says, yeah, but you see, let me tell you, this world we're in, we have to God tell us to dominate.
It's true, he did.
Yeah, we told us to dominate, so we dominate. You know, when you are down, don't be out.
Yeah.
When you're down, don't be out. Pick yourself up. You know, even let me tell you, even people who are not Christians, who don't know much or anything about God, the optimistic business people, they'll tell you they're at their smartest, like clothes-wise, when they are broke. You know, you are absolutely broke.
Yeah.
You wear your best. You go and sit yourself at Serena. Have you ever been through Serena? You know, you see these guys sitting around those chairs there.
Yeah.
They are broke. But they're at Serena. You know? And they're likely to meet somebody who can lift them out of that situation there. Now, you tell me, if you go to this place with a cabinica, you can't even have an Expresso. You know? You are going to meet people, and all they're doing is talking about their hardships, about their problems, about you walk nicely, go singing. You'll make it home, and you know, and then but be optimistic. Move, look for where people who are going to help you are.
Wow.
Stay with those guys. You know, and these are some of the things that even our father taught us. You know, some of them, of course, some people think they're excessive. But you see, if somebody went and built an aeroplane and put in first class and business class, of course, and he put in economy. Now, you tell me, the guy who's likely to talk a good deal with you, are you going to find him in economy?
No, sir.
So invest a little, go in business. If you are in... Can I tell a little
Please,
story?
please.
So I go to America. I gift myself once in a while. So a good deal comes through, I go and gift myself. Of course, sometimes it's exaggerated, but why not? Anyway, so I go to this. I play golf. I like golf. So I go to this wonderful golf resort. One of those, those things. I have to do this once in a lifetime.
In my life, yeah.
So I go to this place, and I'm from Uganda, and I'm in this very exclusive place, and I'm playing golf with this guy who came on a private jet. And,
hey!
And so we talk, and he's the boss of UBS Bank. UBS is one of the biggest banks in the world. It's a Swiss bank. He's the boss of the American thing of it. And so we have a drink together, and he says, he's asking me, where are you from? Uganda? You came from Uganda, and you're here playing over here? I say, yes. I says, you know what, John? He gave me his business card, and he says, if you're here, you're worth being here. So if you need any money for business, come to me. Don't worry, I won't ask you too many questions. Said I haven't used it yet, but I got
yet.
Yeah, yet is a very important word. Yeah, I got a credit line of at least $1 million for just being in this place with this, because if I'm there, I belong.
Wow.
I never mind that I was pinching my dollars just to be there, but I. So okay. Mine is a bit on the high side, but still, look. If you want to be a big business, find out where the big business people have lunch, hang out. It might cost you a bit, It might cost you a bit. Let me tell you, the cup of tea at Serena that costs 15,000. They make it 15,000 not because they need the money. It is to keep people out.
Ouch.
To keep.
Yeah.
They want the few who can afford the 15,000. And now, if you are one of those few,
I am.
The other guys will notice you. You start talking to, and you'll belong. You meet the guy there 1 day, 2 days. The third day, you're saying hi. The next day, you're introducing yourselves. In 2 weeks, you're talking business.
Wow.
But if you believe me, anyway. Let me
Wow. So much wisdom, you guys, that put yourself in environments that speak to you, but also elevate.
Don't overdo it like me, eh? But
we shall try. But Jackie, let me ask one more question. Why do you believe in business so much? Because you have started businesses over and over and over. It doesn't matter. You've stopped this one, pick another one. Why do you believe in business? Why should a person watching you who is, wondering, what's the point of being in business? Why? Why do you believe in business so much?
Well, the business, first of all, I think everybody should be doing some business. Even if you are a professor in a university, come and partner with us.
Ekspreso.
There's a thing there, and it is making for you 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 a month.
Yeah.
You help shape things.
Yeah.
You really help shape things, and you make a difference. You read the Bible. You read the Bible, people have been in business from the very beginning of life, and they are still there. Now, not all of us can do business. Do business at the level that us guys who do it exclusively. But you are helping people,
Yes.
Now, I had 53 employees before COVID. Now, I'm going to end up with 2,000 partners.
Yeah.
And we're doing it together. And 5,000 partners and more. I mean, if I tell you the numbers that Pastor Chris talks about, even me, they blow my mind. But that's what we do, is that we develop, we try to, don't be static. Move, try to move forward, try to do. If what you're doing isn't working, look around. There are so many opportunities, and that's how I've lived my life. And of course, when Jesus came into the picture, it just catapulted me completely.
Yeah.
But believe me, just hang in there. Business is, for me, it's life. It's part of my life. So I really wouldn't know how to best answer your question.
You have answered it, because you've said to the person watching don't be static.
Don't be static.
Keep moving forward. There's opportunities around you, but also that when you're in business, you're changing lives and you're making a difference. And you have made a difference because you've pioneered so many crazy things, even in this nation, because you took a chance and saw an opportunity and moved forward. And when it stopped, you saw another opportunity. And when it stopped, you saw another opportunity. And so that power to keep seeing opportunity and to know that you're making a difference, you're redefining where you are. Jeke, thank you so much for such a good story. And guys, send in your questions. You know, right now, send questions in. And help me welcome Apostle Mose as he just wraps this thing up if he can and asks some critical thinking questions that he usually brings to the table. Welcome.
Oh,
I know.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
No, you know, with JK,
Yeah, you never know.
it needs to be a series. We need a
It's true.
JK series. Right? Right, guys?
Yeah, each story has a series.
Because you feel like you've just begun and then the
Then
clock
it's
is
over.
done.
Yeah.
But seriously, JK, you inspire us. You've inspired us for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm actually going to take this opportunity, instead of talking about business, to talk about something else altogether, since we are all here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have JK here, so we are going to seize the opportunity. Now, many people have been commenting and saying, oh, that's the JK. They finally put
Where
a
have they
face
been?
to the story, because a lot of people have heard about JK, and now this is the JK. And I'm sure we are going to have JK back,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We must.
because for me, it's not what you do. You've done so many great things, but just who you are. All the things you're talking about, being the first in this, the first in FM radio, color separation.
There's the worship harvest story.
Yes, the color separation and all of that. And the worship harvest story. So that's the one I'm going to actually talk about for like a minute. Because at 9 o'clock exactly, we'll have a Harvest Kids program going live on this, going on onto these channels, YouTube and Facebook. So please stay for the kids at 9, and then we'll be back at 10 for the service. But for those who haven't heard the story, 2006, we start Worship Harvest Church. Crazy young people. And on one of those Fridays, we used to have something called
Sling.
Sling. Jeremy used to work for JK. He gets JK to come for Sling, you know, popcorn, some joint there on a veranda in Lumumba Avenue. I don't even know what JK thought. But JK comes for Sling. We had a great time. And alas, on Sunday, JK shows up with his family. Like, oh my God, this is not good. Because we were young and disorganized and few.
It's true.
So JK came with his family. There were how many? Five children.
Gladys and we were 6 of us. Me, Gladys, Angelo, Thomas, Nicole, and Kimberly.
Yes, and
Was
And
Carol?
Carol.
Was Carol with us?
yes.
No, she came. No, the first service she didn't. She wasn't
Okay,
there.
but
She was in school.
Later on, Carol. So then 7 of you. And so you were about 30% of the congregation.
No. Please,
No,
please,
he's
please,
going
please,
to say
please,
70%.
please. I was there. So we get there, and we are seated, and the worship. So the worship was really, really nice. We seated in the front. Because when we came, we were the first people. So we sit in the front. When we finish praise and worship, on the veranda, under Mavati. So as we are sitting, I look behind, and there were 2 people. So now you tell me what
How is
percentage
that
you are.
30%?
We were 6. We were 6, and there were 2 other people.
JK, you're making us look bad.
Yes. But how can you look bad when we are now in thousands?
30% when you add the worship
The
team.
worship team now.
Yes, now we had Evangeline, we had 3 Beatrices. There was
Yes.
B1, B2, B3.
So JK comes, and you came with Gladys. I don't know why you stayed.
Why did you?
You were going to a very good, prominent church at the time. How did you end up in this church?
I actually had the best sermon that I had ever had that Sunday. Pastor Mose, and he was preaching about the lady at the well, at the lady who met Jesus at the well. And it all just made sense. And so we move out, and my family tells me, I used to go to another church, which they didn't particularly like. And they tell me, Daddy, we have found our church. We are here now. So I say, okay, guys, but okay, now me. They said, no. If you want, you go to the other side. They asked, we are coming here. So that's, before you know it, How many years is that? 14 years, 15 years?
14 years ago.
14 years.
And then you came and introduced to us the discipleship evangelism course by Andrew Womack. Yeah. And JK took us through the DE course for 1 year, which is what established us as a church. I keep telling people everywhere I go that if you had never come, JK, one, I wouldn't be married today.
It's true.
Yeah, my marriage would have ended because it was on its way to ending before you brought the DE course. Two, this church wouldn't exist. Yeah, it wouldn't. And all the miracles that we have, you baptized me.
Yes.
Jessica is the one who baptized
That's
me.
one of
Your
that highlight. Even when I meet Jesus, I'm going to tell him, do you know?
So for me, I really just want to celebrate you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you very much.
Worship Harvest now has about 4,800 members, 191 missional communities, 18 locations, including we started planting in other countries, and all of that is because you stayed.
Wow.
Yeah. So we thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we'd like to end our broadcast today on that high note.
Yeah.
And say thank you, Jesus, for this man.
Yes.
And to encourage some of you, there are people who have played a significant part in your life, and maybe you've forgotten. Go back and find them and let them know that where you are now is because of their acts of obedience many years ago. And for me, one of those people is Jeke. Wow. So, thank you for joining us. See you next Sunday at 7:30 a.m. for Business Garage. One more time, let's appreciate this man.